Turn to the French newspapers now. Going to get back to the egg story that we brought you just a few moments ago. It's all over the papers, isn't it, Clément?
That's right. It's on the front page of Aujourd'hui en France. As you can see, the Ministry of Agriculture says that 13 lots of tainted eggs were delivered to 2 food processing farms late last month. These eggs coming from the Netherlands. Now, the ministry says there is no evidence that the eggs have reached consumers, but Le Parisien reports that they may have been used in cake mixes, pastries and ready meals.
So how's the scandal actually come about then, Clément?
Well, it all started when the supermarket chain Aldi withdrew all eggs from sale in its stores in Germany last week. This after tests showed that the chemical fipronil, a highly toxic insecticide, was found in the eggs. Le Parisien reports that the toxic substance was apparently introduced to poultry farms in Belgium and the Netherlands by a Dutch company which mixed it with a legal insecticide used to treat fleas, lice and other parasites in chickens. But other sources suggest that the mix comes from either a Belgian or perhaps even a Romanian supplier, prompting Le Parisien to call this a European-wide scandal. Millions of eggs have been taken off the shelves in Germany and the Netherlands as a precaution, and prosecutors from both countries have opened investigations into possible criminal offences.
OK, we've got another crucial public health issue in the papers as well. This is the vaccination of young children. The government here wants to make that compulsory.
That's right. The new health minister, Agnès Buzyn, announced late last June that she wanted to make 11 vaccines compulsory for all children, up from 3 currently, diphtheria, tetanus and polio. But that announcement actually sparked quite a big anti-vaccination movement here in France, with many parents criticising the government for what they said was an authoritarian measure by the government, and also questioning the safety of vaccines and their usefulness. La Croix reports this morning that as a result of this popular movement, the government is now weighing whether to introduce a clause in the proposed bill to leave the ultimate decision in the hands of parents. Doctors and health experts, however, are not convinced, saying the government is bowing to, quote, the irrational fear of the public.
Let's move on from health. This is a piece that Clément's found in Libération, looking at efforts by French judges to investigate war crimes, particularly in Syria.
That's right. Libération reports that a special commission based in Paris has been probing war crimes in Syria since 2012. And 5 years on, the left-wing daily says that investigations have so far led to nowhere due to a lack of funding and what Libération calls diplomatic obstacles. This comes just a day, of course, after war crime expert Carla Del Ponte announced that she was quitting the UN Commission of Inquiry on Syria after nearly 5 years, saying she was frustrated that the commission was not backed by any political will. Libération concludes, and I quote, "Will Bashar al-Assad ever face justice for his crimes? We should not give up so quickly."
Last piece from the papers. This is the self-proclaimed anti-capitalist groups in Spain. They're actually threatening further attacks on tourists across the country, presumably particularly worrying at this time of year as well.
That's right. Libération reports that there's been several attacks against tourists in Valencia, Barcelona and Mallorca since the beginning of summer. Now, these attacks have been mostly non-violent, throwing confetti on tourists and daubing messages like "tourists go home" on buses. These groups, which call themselves anarchists, say that tourism is killing Spain, making life more expensive and pushing residents into exile. Libération says that public anger could grow further, but also reminds us that Spain's economy remains very much dependent on the tourism sector. Last year, 36 million people visited the country and spent more than 37 billion euros there, accounting for 10% of Spain's GDP.
OK, Clément, thank you.